Welcome back to The New Life, A Better Way to Health, Part 4. This seminar is not meant to replace medical advice. It is not intended to provide personalized medical advice in any way. The material presented in this seminar is for general educational and informational purposes only. Welcome back to our fourth week of Going from Sickness to Health, learning the 10 principles of health. Tonight, we are going to place special emphasis on developing this week's principle into a lifelong habit. Today, we're discussing the principle of nutrition, the proper way that food should nourish our bodies for health. Point number 1. Food is any substance which, when absorbed into the blood, will nourish and repair tissues, furnish energy and heat to the body, without causing injury to any of its parts, i.e., illness or disease. Point number 2. Nutrition is the science that studies food and how food nourishes our bodies and influences our health.
Outside of the grocery market is like a cemetery, a burial ground for synthetic, cooked, or processed foods. So people stroll up and down these foodless plots looking for the best packaging. We're a quick fix generation focused on packaging and trends. But when it comes to your health, son, it's as timeless as the sky is blue. You want to see packaging? Who packaged this? Who made these bright colors? Now that's packaging. And it's through your innocence that you'll see the carrot looks like an eye, and we know that carrots are good for the eyes. Or the walnut. It's a little brain loaded with brain foods. And I'm amazed how the tomato looks just like the inside of a heart. You want to hear something kind of funny but sad? My generation lives on buns and rolls, and it shows. 2 out of 3 of us are overweight. However, nature is nutritionally complicated, so we don't have to be. And oh yeah, another thing. See that over there? Beware of those trendy marketeers who will preach inferiorism to you, telling you that the food is no good, the dirt is no good, the air is no good, and the water is no good. They'll even tell you that you're no good, so they can sell you their lifeless, synthetic, fractionated supplements. Here's the deal. If you can breathe, keep breathing. And if the water's wet, drink it. The cleaner, the better. And of course, if God made it, eat it. If man made it, leave it alone or eat it in moderation. All of these drug and pill pushers have slowly handicapped our generation, making health an event. But you need to know that health is a habit. It's not an event. It's the little things we do day after day that lead to wellness or disease. It's not a handful of supplements chased by a frothy, nasty green drink on a Saturday morning. That's not health. That's hope and toxicity. Which reminds me, I am not going to raise you to be a fanatic. Fanatics die every day of self-inflicted stress. That's why they have bad breath. So live a little, but do so with your eyes wide open. Someday, you're going to have dreams just like me. Dreams of love, family, money, spirituality. But you'll soon see how many people around you set out to create and sustain their dreams, stepping over their health to get there. Only to come up short, hopeless, cynical, fearful, and survivors. But now, they've had a heart attack, or diabetes, or strokes, or they struggle with obesity. But enough is enough, and the buck stops here. You and I are not floating down the stream. So why am I telling you this? Because you're going to outlive me. I'll be your example. I may need your care and assistance someday. And because, of course, I love and care for you.
Reshaping what you thought about diet. It's not exclusively about weight loss. Lee Memorial Health System cardiologist Brian Tashner believes it's central to heart health.
Diet really has an impact on a number of the cardiac risk factors,
including diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and of course, obesity, all greatly impacted by what we eat. Research suggests people who consume high amounts of animal proteins may face a higher risk of these conditions.
not necessarily just from the fats, but also from consumption of a lot of the meats and the dairy that we consume.
That's one reason behind the growing interest in plant-based diets. Going lean and green shows promise in both prevention and management of cardiovascular disease. Studies looked at people who went mostly meatless and found tangible health benefits.
Cholesterol levels that are cut in half without medications, patients getting off of their diabetes medicines, their blood pressure medicines, and actually reversal of heart disease.
If you're considering giving it a stab, you don't have to give up meat cold turkey. Try limiting it to about 10% of your diet. About 60% of calories should be grown.
Really trying to focus on the leafy greens, so things like spinach and kale, chard, romaine lettuce, those things, and then really incorporating all other types of vegetables in your diet.
Fruit, whole grains, and healthy fats from things like nuts and olive oil will help flesh out the menu. A diet makeover you can take to heart. For Lee Memorial Health System, I'm Amy Osher.
There is so much confusion about what foods are best for our bodies. So we're going to endeavor to look at not just what we can and should eat, but also why we should eat certain foods and why we must avoid others if we are to maintain health and prevent chronic diseases. But first, let's look at the essential components of nutrition for the human body with some nutrition facts. A plant-rich diet can help cut type 2 diabetes risk by 50%. A plant-rich diet dramatically lowers overall cholesterol. Studies are showing that a plant-rich diet can even help reverse coronary artery disease or heart disease. Plant-rich diets also lower BMI, while meat consumption is linked to increasing obesity. Now, red meat consumption is directly linked with increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Here are the major nutrients of food. We have our fats, our proteins, minerals, water, roughage, vitamins, and carbohydrates. Major nutrients of food are all substances that allow our bodies to, first, make energy, build and maintain tissues, and to regulate bodily processes. Let's take a look at some of the primary functions of the 6 major nutrients. First, water. It dissolves and carries nutrients, removes waste, and then regulates body temperature. Now, protein builds new tissues, antibodies, enzymes, hormones, and other compounds. Carbohydrates, they provide energy. Your fats, they provide long-term energy, insulation, and protection. Your vitamins, they facilitate use of other nutrients involved in regulating growth and manufacturing hormones. Now, your minerals, they help to build bones and teeth, aid in muscle function, and nervous system activity. Point number 3. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are the only nutrients in foods that provide energy. These are all called macronutrients. Nutrients are broken down further into 2 main categories. Let's learn about both. Macronutrients are required in large quantities, and micronutrients are required in small quantities. Both are necessary. However, many focus too much attention on protein, while most people are vitamin and mineral starved. Then there is that often forgotten nutrient, water, which is a macronutrient since we need it in large quantities, but is placed in a category by itself. Water is necessary for lubricating the joints, transporting substances through the body, and regulating body temperature. We will talk about water in depth in the next session, but this is simple enough, right? Point number 4. Vitamins and minerals are called micronutrients, as we need relatively small amounts of them to support normal health and body functions. So with such clear information and understanding of nutritional science, why are people still getting sicker and sicker? Well, we'll turn to our definition of sickness and disease that we look at each week. Sickness and disease are an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. Yes, disease is a result of a violation of the laws of health. Could you ever imagine that what we often place in our mouths and stomachs violates the law of nutrition, which we just summarized? How could this be? Point number 5. Whatever we eat is broken down into nutrients that fuel our cells, the building blocks of our bodies. Whatever we eat is broken down into single nutrients that feed our cells. We only think of food in terms of feeding our stomachs, but it is our cells that are the building blocks of our bodies. If we make the cells sick with foods that are carcinogenic or toxic, we sicken the entire body. We need to feed our cells the nutrition they require. When we don't, it is a violation, and then diseases like cancer come. Notice in this video, which reported the World Health Organization's 2015 findings, that processed meats, including hot dogs, bacon, deli meats, increase the risk of certain cancers.
Hot dogs, bacon, hams, and sausage can cause cancer. That's according to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, part of the World Health Organization. Experts are now saying there is now sufficient evidence that eating processed meats is, quote, carcinogenic to humans. In other words, these processed meats on your screen cause cancer. They say the risk of developing colorectal cancer is small, but it rises depending on how much processed meat you eat. The report also finds that red meat, like beef, pork, and lamb, probably cause cancer too. But the link to cancer isn't as strong as processed meats. With processed meats, they are now sure they cause cancer. Let's bring in Dr. Rashini Raj. She is an attending physician at NYU's Langone Medical Center and an associate professor of NYU School of Medicine. So Lunchables are out.
They're pretty much out. I mean,
Really?
this is not shocking news to me as a gastroenterologist. We know that processed meats do increase your risk of colorectal cancer, probably stomach cancer as well. But for the World Health Organization to come out and call it a class 1 carcinogen really raises awareness to everyone out there that you are what you eat, and there are certain foods that will increase your risk of cancer. In this case, by as much as 18% when we're talking about colorectal cancer if you eat these foods every day.
I didn't realize colorectal cancer was the third leading cause of death among cancer.
It is, and it's the third most common cause of cancer for men and women.
I had no idea until this study. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
The idea that you can feed kids Lunchables and they get a little meat, they get a little cheese, they get that's gone now. I don't want to get sued by Lunchables, but I mean this report shows that's bad.
It's bad. I mean, I have 2 kids too. One of their favorite foods are hot dogs, but you have
Lots of
to
good
limit
salt
it.
in there too.
Right, exactly, and the nitrates. So you really have to limit it. We're also talking about red meat, which was said probably causes cancer in humans. So class 2 carcinogen, also not great for you. I mean, what we're learning more and more is a plant-based diet or a Mediterranean diet that has whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. The red meat, not great, and the processed meat.
Deli
is
turkey
like,
doesn't cut it?
the processed
that's
turkey
in
is not
Lunchables.
good. Yeah, if it's been salted, cured, fermented, processed in some way to, have it preserved for a longer period of time, that's processed meat, not a good thing in terms of your cancer risk. Not just colorectal cancer, but they saw some links with even prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer as well.
This is one of the big changes in our diets, especially in America,
Right.
say in my lifetime.
They said on average American men these days eat about 100 grams of meat per day, and we're saying that the risk is as much as increase with just 50 grams per day. So a lot of people have to make a lot of changes in their diet.
And going fresh and going fruits and grains and vegetables is really the way to do it.
It's the way to do it. Study after study is showing us that the Mediterranean diet, which is the fruits, the vegetables, the whole grain.
Did you catch that? Too much of the wrong kind of protein is a big problem.
new local weight loss research shows different diets can help overweight Australians target fat in specific parts of the body. The study could be a breakthrough for the treatment of diabetes, often triggered by a high proportion of fat around the abdomen.
For years, overweight Australians have been labelled apple or pear body types. Now, new diabetes research shows body shapes not just determined by genetics.
You might be able to convert somebody from being metabolically unhealthy obese to metabolically healthy obese.
The director of the University of South Australia's Sansom Institute for Health Research has shown different diets make overweight Australians with diabetes lose weight from different areas. On a low-fat diet, they lost weight from their hips and thighs, while on a Mediterranean diet, they lost dangerous fat from their abdomen.
We actually think it's producing a healthier distribution of body fat, and which may explain why it's actually benefiting them and lowering their risk of heart disease.
This research is so important because a high proportion of fat around the abdomen often indicates a person's at risk of diabetes, a disease which is dangerously on the rise. The Mediterranean diet's based on what people on the island of Crete ate in the 1950s. It's more than three times the size of a typical Western meal of the same calories and fat content. Best of all, it tastes good and is easy for Australians to follow.
Everything here is good for you. It's fresh, it's got lots of different colours, you can cook it in all sorts of different ways.
Kangaroo's an excellent choice of protein, as is seafood, and both should be cooked with extra virgin cold-pressed olive oil. And every meal should be finished off with a serve of fresh seasonal fruit. Esther Lindstrom, 10 News.
For the rest of the hour, our focus is on the power of food to heal your body, to give you more energy, and even help you lose weight. Now, we're starting with the promise of food as medicine. You have the power to help prevent cancer. That is an absolute truism. The solution lies in your supermarket. Today, I'm revealing 4 of the best cancer-fighting foods out there. Dr. Will Clower is a nutritionist and founder of the Mediterranean Wellness Initiative. He's going to help us out. Let me ask the big question for everybody. Yeah. We spend literally billions of dollars researching cancer solutions. Yeah. Yet you're making the argument that food could be as powerful as a tool to prevent cancer. Why should folks believe that?
Well, all of these foods that we're going to be talking about are backed up by solid research showing that when you consume them, you can not only slow the growth of cancer, but you can also prevent the onset at the beginning.
We're going to go through the hard science on this, but I want you to remember what the action steps are, the takeaways are. So the first cancer-fighting food are collard greens, which you've all heard about. But why are collard greens so important in fighting cancer?
Well, people spend a lot of money on detox your body, this and that. You know what? Do you want to detox your body? Collards. If you have a tumor, it needs nutrients to grow. Right. And that needs blood supply. And what collards do is they will interrupt that blood supply so your tumor can't get the nutrients to grow. So essentially, when you eat your collards, you'll starve your tumor. And that is a starvation diet I can live with.
Yeah.
First, did you hear that? Collard greens. Isn't that encouraging? Foods can heal like medicine, can prevent disease, and even reverse some chronic conditions. So, it is the dark green, leafy vegetables, of which there are many, including kale, Swiss chard, etc. So eat your greens to fight cancer. Point number 6. The China study, led by T. Colin Campbell, showed that the Chinese have fewer incidences of heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, and iron deficiency anemia. But from what we just saw, we need to avoid foods that cause cancer. How many of you have heard of the China study? In the book, The China Study, Dr. T. Colin Campbell showed that when the protein casein found in meat and dairy is introduced into the body, it turns on cancer. When it is taken out of the diet, the cancer gene is turned off. From this study of millions of Chinese people who had little or no casein in their diet, they suffered fewer incidences of cancer, among other lifestyle diseases. What about the chronic lifestyle disease that is affecting people worldwide? Diabetes. What are studies saying about how nutrition affects the risk of diabetes and how nutrition can help prevent or even reverse this chronic condition? Studies have shown that a low-fat, high-fiber, high-carb, yes, high-carb diet can be effective in reducing the risk of developing type 1 diabetes and in reversing type 2 diabetes. Plants are naturally higher in carbs. Now, the majority of our carbs should be from fruits and vegetables. Point number 7. Eating whole foods, including whole fruits, instead of drinking the processed fruit juice can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. In the next news report, a study is cited which shows that it is better to have the whole fruit, fiber and all, rather than the juice, to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. Many of us think we're doing well by drinking a lot of fruit juice. This can increase risks of type 2 diabetes. The reason is because the fiber slows down the absorption of the sugar. So you want to make sure to eat whole fruits and not fruit juice.
Eating more whole fruits may help prevent type 2 diabetes. Researchers found 3 servings a week of fruits like blueberries, grapes, and apples significantly reduced diabetes risk, while higher consumption of fruit juice was linked to a higher risk. Replacing just 3 weekly servings of fruit juice with whole fruits reduced the type 2 diabetes risk by 7%.
Point number 8. A whole food, plant-based diet can prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes. Now we'll take a look at a couple of news clips that powerfully prove that you can indeed prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes.
So much of this is in my control.
Sherry Beatrice is trying to be healthy, especially when it comes to food.
I grew up in the South. I grew up with fried foods, Carb City, tons of sugar. I mean, if it was up to me, I could eat Krispy Kreme all day.
A year ago, Beatrice, who's 62, cut out red meat and adopted a Mediterranean diet.
I eat chickpeas, lentils, beans, all that stuff, lots of salads.
Eating less meat may have also reduced her chances of getting diabetes. A new study followed 100,000 people for 4 years. Those who ate half a serving less of red meat a day reduced their risk of diabetes by 14%. Those who added a half serving increased their risk nearly 50%. The study found the increased risk for diabetes was even greater in processed red meat, like hot dogs, sausage, and salami.
As we enter the summer and we go barbecuing, what I recommend is throw some vegetables on the grill because they're going to be healthier for you.
Diabetes affects about 25 million Americans and is a major cause of heart disease and stroke.
If we can say to patients, get the saturated fats, get the meat out of your diet, and you're going to prevent diabetes, that's hugely empowering.
Sherry's lost 20 pounds and lowered her cholesterol. She says she doesn't miss the meat.
I just feel better. I feel healthier. I feel lighter. I never have that really full feeling after I eat.
But she says she's only human and still has a little ice cream once in a while. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, New York.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Did you hear that she has a little ice cream at the end? What about that ice cream? Is the woman's health going to be okay with a little ice cream? Let's see with this next video clip on milk.
When you think about it, the purpose of cow's milk, I did most of my growing up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. The purpose of cow's milk is to turn a 65-pound calf into a 400-pound cow as rapidly as possible. Cow's milk is baby calf growth fluid. That's what this stuff is. Everything in that white liquid, the hormones, the lipids, the proteins, the sodium, the growth factors, the IGF, every one of those is meant to blow that calf up to a great big cow, or it wouldn't be there. And whether you pour it on your cereal as a liquid, whether you clot it into yogurt, whether you it into cheese, whether you freeze it into ice cream, it's baby calf growth fluid. And women eat it, and it stimulates their tissues, and it gives women breast lumps. It makes the uterus get big, and they get fibroids, and they bleed, and they get hysterectomies, and they need mammograms, and gives guys man boobs. This is, cow's milk is the lactation secretions of a large bovine mammal who just had a baby. It's for baby calves. You know, I tell my patients, go look in the mirror. Do you have big ears? Do you have a tail? Are you a baby calf? If you're not, don't be eating baby calf growth fluid in any level. There's nothing in it people need.
What about when a person has suffered from type 2 diabetes for years and has been taking insulin shots? Can their diabetes be reversed?
Get rid of insulin, control blood sugar, minimize medication in just a few days? Sound too good to be true? Rosalie Isles did it. She was hospitalized, overweight, suffering from hypertension and high blood pressure when she met Dr. Baxter Montgomery, and he immediately put her on a special diet.
But 3 days after I went on this diet, I was taken off the insulin. I had been on insulin since 1987. I no longer take insulin.
By getting on a plant-based diet and getting it completely off animal flesh, it allowed us to get off the insulin, and it allows her to lose weight.
Rosalie says she lost 35 pounds in 2 months and reversed her heart disease. This is Rosalie before the diet. Now, at the age of 81, she's confident enough to model in fashion shows.
I feel like a different person. Ever since I started coming to Dr. Montgomery, my life has been different. I'm completely changed.
The dreaded skill.
Victor Fuller had just undergone his second life-saving open heart surgery when he turned to Dr. Montgomery. The diet helped him get his heart disease under better control. He no longer has type 2 diabetes, and he lost 50 pounds.
At first, it was a little shaky there. I didn't want to do it because I'm meat and potatoes man. But then after he told me the ins and out of what it could do for my body, how it could cleanse my body, then I gave it a try.
The weight loss is very nice and it's cosmetic, but the real magic has happened under the hood with him. Someone with the amount of vascular disease that he has should not function at nearly the capacity that he functions at. And it's because of the lifestyle change that he's made is what has gotten him to that point.
Well, I was taking 13 medications. I'm down to 4. My diabetes is under control by eating less meat.
This plan requires some pretty serious dietary changes. Dr. Montgomery encourages people to load up on things like fresh fruit and vegetables, avoiding all animal products. He says go with
minimally processed, whole food, plant-based. I try to avoid terms such as vegetarian or vegan.
His patients eat food as close to its natural state as possible. He suggests you shuck a corn on the cob and eat it raw or lightly steamed to keep its nutrients. The biggest step is letting go of meat. Dr. Montgomery has another term for it.
Individuals come and they have advanced illness. One of the first things you want to do is remove animal flesh from the system and dairy products because it puts an extra burden and the body's not able to digest it.
Since food often affects us psychologically, it may help to look at it beyond flavor or even texture.
But if one were to eat a cheeseburger now, it would probably taste good for that moment, but from that point on, you only get the adverse effects of that cheeseburger.
Victor and Rosalie let go of cheeseburgers and say it worked.
I only put what I'm supposed to eat in my refrigerator, freezer, and pantry. That's the best way you can do it. Don't bring anything into your house that you can't have.
Thank God for the pleasure of meeting Dr. Montgomery because he's changed my life. He and God.
Even at 80 plus years, diabetes can be reversed with good nutrition. Isn't that encouraging? Health Returns has conducted diabetes reversal programs. It can be done. Point number 9. A whole food plant-based diet can prevent and reverse America's #1 killer, heart disease. The next video news clip is surprising as it features someone with whom we are very familiar. This person reversed their heart disease.
Someone we all know whose turbocharged appetite for fast food was matched only by his turbocharged personality, President Bill Clinton. He has made a big change in his diet. He is a vegan, raising the question if the first boomer president can press the restart button at the age of 65. What about the rest of the boomers? Here's ABC's Ryan Claiborne.
There was a time when Bill Clinton never met a Big Mac he didn't like.
I'm eating an apple fritter right now.
Hillary Clinton persuaded White House chefs to cook healthier meals, which kind of worked. But it wasn't until 2004, when he had triple bypass heart surgery, that Bill Clinton truly got serious about changing his eating habits. Then last year, with the goal of shedding 20 pounds for daughter Chelsea's wedding, he cut out all meat, as he explained to Barbara Walters.
For several months, I just essentially quit eating animal products, including dairy.
So it's mostly what, grains and...
I mostly eat vegetables, fruits, and whole grain bread, and I just feel better doing it.
For more than a year now, Clinton has been adhering very closely to what's known as a vegan diet. Like a vegetarian diet, the vegan diet excludes beef, chicken, and pork. But the vegan diet goes even farther, cutting out fish and all animal byproducts, including cheese, milk, and eggs. What does it leave? Mainly fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains.
He says that he's doing really well.
Cardiologist Dean Ornish helped teach President Clinton how to eat more healthfully.
Moderate changes weren't enough to help him reverse or prevent heart disease. So he began following more of a plant-based diet. In our studies, we showed that it could actually reverse the progression of heart disease. Within a month, we found that the blood flow to your heart can improve.
And yet, despite all evidence of its benefits, a lot of people still shun healthier food because it doesn't sound very tasty. What would you say to people who think that vegan food is bland or tasteless?
They probably haven't tried it.
It's good?
It's excellent.
And not just tasty, but they say it also makes them feel better. And Bill Clinton agrees as he celebrates this milestone birthday today. The formerly corpulent former president says he's slimmer, fitter, and feeling more energetic, Diane, than he has in years.
Of course, this item on Bill Clinton is from a few years ago, but there were positive health results from him going vegan. Next is a clip from the show The Doctors, where Dr. Travis Stork ate vegan for only 5 days. Let's see what happened and how it made him feel as he demonstrates what happens in the body from a fast food diet with lots of cheese and meat to a plant-based diet.
You all may remember last year, I actually went on a Project Unhealthy. In 5 days, I gained 8 pounds. In 5 days, I actually became hypertensive, developed high blood pressure. I don't even want to know what was going on inside my body. America, listen up. This is what you're doing to yourself. I did it for 5 days. I felt miserable. I gained weight. I put my body in jeopardy, and it wasn't worth it. And you know what? I'm never going to do it again. Why did I do it? To prove a point. When you eat these foods, it causes an addictive pattern in your mind. But in the end, all you end up is overweight, lethargic, and not feeling good about yourself. This is me. So what happened when I ate a fast food meal? Well, something very simple. The contents enter your stomach, and I'm going to circle some of these contents that I call some of the killer contents of food. Sodium. These are fat molecules. These are refined sugar molecules. No big deal, right? Well, it is a big deal because when they hit your stomach, good things start happening, believe it or not. That's that dopamine release in your brain because dopamine and serotonin are going wild. You feel great. Oh my gosh, this tastes wonderful. It does, right? For the first few minutes. But things are also going on inside your body that aren't so great. Your pancreas is secreting more and more insulin to deal with that massive sugar overload from the fries, from the white bun, from the soda. Insulin does one thing. It drives sugar into cells. But it does something else. It tells your body to store fat. Why else would you have eaten a meal that big and that many calories unless you're about to go into hibernation? That's what you do when you hibernate. You grow a big belly. That fat that you see here, those fat cells actually grow in size. They start to secrete even more toxic substances, leading to heart disease, diabetes, and so many other things. All that sodium causes your blood pressure to go up, so your heart's beating twice as fast against twice as much resistance. And in your brain, you no longer are releasing dopamine, but instead, your brain is signaling you to release cortisol. Cortisol is a chronic stress hormone that ironically tells you to store even more fat. And last, but certainly not least, what isn't going on in my brain right now? I'm 30 minutes after my meal. There's no more dopamine. There's no more serotonin. I'm lethargic. I feel unhappy. I don't feel good about myself. And that is why when you first eat a fast food meal, you feel great. And 30 minutes later, you feel terrible.
8 pounds gained in 5 days. Wow. Let's face it, there is just too much evidence for any of us to continue to make ourselves sick through diet and lifestyle. The right nutrition is the key to health, and something called antioxidants is a big part of that. Point number 10. Antioxidants help to fight free radicals, which cause cell damage and can lead to cancer. So, antioxidants help to fight free radicals in the body. But where do antioxidants come from, and what are these free radicals? If they're free, shouldn't we want them? Briefly, a free radical is an unstable molecular structure that is unpaired. Since they're unpaired, they can frequently react with other molecules. This can cause cell and tissue damage. This is called oxidative stress. So we want foods that are rich in antioxidants. Point number 11. Certain vegetables and fruits rich in antioxidants and high levels of vitamins A, C, and E are key nutrients for a strong immune system. So antioxidants are found in vegetables and fruits. You probably already guessed that. Vitamins A, C, and E are antioxidant rich. They are key to a strong immune system. A good nutritious diet, which includes fruits and vegetables that are rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, will increase immune function. To avoid colds and flus or any other bacteria or virus, one need look no further than what is found in nutrient-dense foods. Conversely, research shows that fats have the ability to impair immune system function, and cutting fat from the diet allows the immune system to be strengthened. All in all, a diet high in vitamins, low in bad fats, high in fiber, and low in toxic chemicals and animal protein will keep the body's defense system on guard. This helps to protect you from flu and colds. Let's watch more videos to see what science says about antioxidant-rich foods and why we need more of them. Again, examples are fruits and vegetables.
Well, here's something you probably didn't want to hear. We are in prime season to get sick, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Time for that nagging reminder to eat your fruits and veggies.
Now, this sounds basic, but here's why it's important. Fruits and vegetables have antioxidants, and antioxidants neutralize free radicals, which really, if left unchecked, can start to poison your body.
If you're not getting rid of those free radicals, all kinds of bad things can happen to you. So cells can be destroyed, your immune system is weakened, and that is when you get sick. So we asked fitness and nutrition expert Mark McDonald to come in and help keep us all healthy. All right, so most people don't even know that they don't even get the 2 servings of vitamins that they really need a day of fruits and vegetables and all that. But you say we actually need how many? 12?
At least 12 a day. So every day we're 10 short. And that's what really is causing people's immune system to just hurt. And it's like your cells start to rust. When you don't get enough antioxidants through fruits and veggies, you have oxidative stress. And it's like internally you begin to rust and your cells are destroyed.
So what's the best vitamin to take? Which should we have every day, bar none?
So these are vitamins, vitamin A, C, and E. And we'll talk about each one. But they actually are antioxidants.
Okay.
So we look at vitamin A. These are great sources to work into. You have sweet potatoes, cantaloupe, butternut squash, dried apricots, and carrots. So that provides you with vitamin A, great for your eyes and vision and immune booster. Then vitamin E, you know, we asked, like olive oil is a great essential fat, but grapeseed is a powerful in vitamin E, great to cook with. Almond butter, almonds, seeds, and we love avocados.
We sure do.
So this is vitamin E, so A, E, and then C.
Over here.
We have green leafy veggies. These are kale. People love like kale shakes. I know that you love those, Randy.
I'm a fan.
Broccoli, your peppers, look at all the colors, and then oranges. And that's vitamin C. These are boosting, these are immune booster vitamins, A, C, and E.
So I find, though, it's really hard to sort of keep track. I mean, is it possible that you're getting too many vitamins or too many antioxidants? I mean, how do you know?
Well, you can't have too many fruits and veggies. But what the mistake people make is they say, oh, okay, vitamin A is great for my vision. I'm going to take a vitamin A supplement, and they're going to take a pill, and that's when you start having problems because they're overloading on vitamins in specific needs when they're not doing the whole fruits or veggies.
People always say go with real food, right? That's better.
Go with real food, or if you're going to supplement, you have to make sure that you're taking, there's new supplementation now that actually is like whole fruits or veggies that are infused in a liquid format so you can drink it, so you're not just getting a piece of a vitamin C, you're actually getting this whole thing in a liquid format.
So liquid is better than solid when you're taking the vitamins?
Always. Fully absorbed. Liquid is always going to absorb much better into your tissue.
Okay.
And the antioxidants, once again, what do? They're just really good for us.
So every time we take a breath, we create a free radical, and that's like a left-hand check of poison to your body. Antioxidants neutralize that free radical, protect your cells, boost your immune system, increase your metabolism speed, and really just allows us to fight those colds that none of us want.
So how many servings of fruits and vegetables do you eat every day? I'm just curious.
Well, I eat probably about 6 or 7 fruits, and then I supplement with liquid antioxidants.
All right.
Because we're busy.
We are.
And so I actually get about 18 when I put it all together. I get about 18 servings of fruits and veggies. Because we're busy, that's why I supplement too.
We're going to keep looking so young the more we have him.
I know, right? If I start taking the advice, yeah, it'll work.
Yeah, you got to take the advice. Everybody at home as well.
Yes.
Mark McDonald, thank you.
Thanks so much, Randy and Victor.
Antioxidants are found in many fruits and vegetables, and they might just be your body's ultimate secret weapons against cancer. But what exactly are antioxidants, and why are they so good for you? As I've discovered, most of you don't even have a clue. What's an antioxidant?
I don't know.
Do you know any antioxidants?
No, I know it's in green tea.
Do you know what an antioxidant is?
An antioxidant?
Yes.
No.
You know what has antioxidants in it?
I don't want to say the wrong stuff.
I'm with your daughter here. I've got a question for both of you. Can you name an antioxidant?
Yeah.
Joining me is one of my all-time favorite guests, cancer prevention pioneer, Dr. William Lee. Dr. Lee, thank you very much for joining us as always. Talk about antioxidants and how they prevent cancer.
Well, antioxidants are natural protective molecules that Mother Nature has laced into a large number of foods. And there are literally thousands of different types of antioxidants, but they all do pretty much the same thing. They protect our DNA in healthy cells from the type of damage caused by free radicals, which are harmful chemicals that our body absorbs from things like cigarette smoke or pollution or fried foods or other sources of the environment. So antioxidants protect our DNA against the kind of damage that can cause cancer.
So you see why it's so important to both of us, and all doctors are concerned about preventing cancer, that you have enough. So everyone in our audience today is wearing their antioxidant health on their sleeve. Now, let's see how you did. Are you ready? I don't want to see any reds, any oranges. Let's see the numbers for the audience. You're all down here. Can I tell you something? You're America. You're a cross-section of everyone watching the show right now. Let me just go through these because it completely blew my mind. We have almost 40% of the audience in the lowest category possible. I actually didn't think we'd find anybody there. Not naively thought that at least we're getting enough of these antioxidants into our bodies that wouldn't be there. Another 40% had the orange category, which is still, to me, a dangerously low level. And we only had a total of about 6% having greens and blues. Put your hands up if you're greens and blues. Let me just see. It's like, yeah, I mean, there are a couple folks. But, you know, it's not many. Congratulations, by the way. So the question then becomes, you know, why is it they're having these problems? And it's not surprising because we're getting on average about 2 to 3 servings of fruit per day and vegetables. It's not enough. And we know that. What do we talk about? 5, 7, 9, big numbers of servings, fistful size. So,
well, you can certainly get antioxidants in pill form, but the very best way of actually getting antioxidants is in the foods that we eat.
And what about organic versus inorganic? I get asked that a lot from the audience. Does it make a big difference with regard to antioxidant power?
Yeah, well, some studies have actually shown that foods grown organically can have greater levels of antioxidants. And the reason is because antioxidants also protect plants. And when plants are grown organically, that's without pesticides or chemicals or antibiotics, they actually have to produce more antioxidants to protect themselves.
Right.
And when we eat them, we get the benefits too.
Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. Now, why is Stephanie wearing a red shirt?
Because I have an addiction to pastries. So I really wasn't surprised at my results.
Well, let me just point a couple things out to folks who may be surprised by your results. You're thin, you look athletic, you look fit, and your numbers are still low. Your numbers weren't just low, they were among the lowest we found in the entire audience of 200-some people here. So it's a dangerously low number. I want to sink in to everybody today the fundamental principles of what antioxidants are and why I care about them, and why world-class physicians and cancer researchers like Dr. Lee are dedicating their lives to getting this message out. You want to play with me a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So this is what your DNA looks like. Okay. You see the balloons lined up, and they're very neatly aligned along these little cables, because when the DNA has to reproduce itself, it's got to make a perfect copy. If it makes a mistake when it copies, what happens?
It's going to continue.
And it'll make mistakes that are propagated, right? It's like you're giving your kids a bad habit. They're going to take it to their kids.
Right.
So you make bad habits in DNA, and they turn into rogue sociopathic cells, which we call cancer. All right, so you get to be a free radical.
Okay.
So I want you to take your free radical power, and I want you to knock off these balloons. I want you to show what it can do to DNA when the DNA is not protected and free radicals can attack it. Go ahead. Whack away. Yeah. And one more. And what happens? It begins to get very, very unstable. Now, if I don't hold it, it's going to collapse. Now, what ends up happening when you lose all of this power is that you begin to make the errors I'm speaking about. Then the body has to develop a technique to protect it. It's called an antioxidant. So I'm going to be the antioxidant now. And my job is to prevent you from knocking off the remaining pieces of this, right? Otherwise, the whole thing collapses and we're done. You're going to have oxidation. You're going to have stress in your life. The kids are going to get you tired. You're going to have issues at work. That's going to happen. You're going to eat foods that aren't always perfect for you. I'm okay with that. But you got to have the antioxidant back up to come in there and defend you. So go ahead, not that time, take it away. There. Go on, one more time. Try to get at it. She's hard, all right? You can't get there, right?
Nervous.
Just take a whack up there. Try to get it. Right. The free radicals are fast and they're quick, but the antioxidants are your natural mechanisms that we have always had for all of our existence. Every human being ever created has had antioxidants that can protect us from the world around us. That's why this is so critical.
Research shows that those who eat a plant-based diet have a lower BMI and a lower incidence of being overweight. Conversely, eating a diet high in fat, cholesterol, and a refined sugar, such as fried foods and processed foods, leads to weight gain. You can actually eat more food on a plant-based diet as long as it is nutrient-dense food. When planning your meals, take note of portion size. Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. Your biggest meal should be in the morning and your smallest in the evening to help create a healthy metabolism. Be sure to eat foods rich in fiber such as vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. Thomas Carlyle. We would like to thank you for attending this week's segment on nutrition. And until next week, always remember, your health is your choice.